Stop. Before you spend another Jefferson nickel, watch this first. One ordinary-looking Monticello Thomas Jefferson nickel has sold for thousands, and some ultra-rare error coins have reached incredible values at auction. Could a fortune be hiding in your pocket change right now? Let's uncover the nickels every collector is searching for. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at a convenience store counter, your hand reaching into your pocket to pull out a few loose coins to pay for a cup of coffee. Your fingers brush against the familiar ridges of a nickel, and without a second thought, you drop it onto the counter alongside a crumpled dollar bill. In that single, careless moment, you might have just handed over a coin that could have bought you a house. This is not hyperbole, and it is not clickbait. This is the terrifying and exhilarating reality of the 1961 no-mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a ghost that has been hiding in plain sight for over 6 decades. While millions of these coins were struck and released into the wild, a microscopic fraction of them possess a specific set of characteristics, a perfect storm of minting errors and pristine preservation, that transforms a 5-cent piece into a $550,000 treasure. The question that should be burning in your mind right now is not whether such a coin exists, but rather, have you already spent it? This is the ultimate confrontation between the spender and the collector, a battle that plays out millions of times a day across America. The spender sees a nickel, a trivial piece of currency barely worth the metal it is stamped from, a tool for making change and nothing more. The collector, however, sees a piece of history, a snapshot of American craftsmanship, and potentially a life-altering financial windfall. The difference between these two perspectives is simply knowledge, and today, we are going to arm you with the knowledge to ensure you never make the mistake of spending a fortune on a cup of coffee. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel is a beautiful coin, designed by the sculptor Felix Schlag, featuring a sharp left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. It is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a durable alloy that has allowed these coins to survive in circulation for generations. But it is precisely this durability that makes the truly exceptional examples so incredibly rare, because the very act of being spent and handled wears away the delicate details that separate a 5-cent piece from a $500,000 prize. Let us take a moment to pause right here, a pattern interrupt if you will. I want you to stop reading for just a second and look around your immediate environment. Do you have a jar of loose change on a desk? A bowl of coins by the front door? An old piggy bank in the closet? Do not dismiss this as a trivial exercise. The coins sitting in those containers, the ones you have been meaning to take to the bank for years, could be harboring a secret that could change your financial future. The 1961 nickel is not some ancient relic buried in a shipwreck. It is a coin that was minted in the modern era, and millions of them are still out there, circulating in the economy, waiting to be recognized for what they truly are. To understand the astronomical value of the specific 1961 nickel we are discussing, we must first understand the concept of the full steps designation. On the reverse of the Jefferson Nickel, at the base of Monticello, there is a series of 6 steps leading up to the entrance of the building. On a typical, heavily circulated coin, these steps are soft, worn down, and often nearly invisible. However, on a coin that was struck with perfect pressure, with a freshly polished die, these 6 steps are sharp, distinct, and fully defined. This is what numismatists call a full steps coin, and it is the holy grail for Jefferson nickel collectors. The 1961 nickel is notoriously difficult to find with a full strike. The minting process in 1961, due to the hardness of the copper-nickel alloy, often resulted in weak strikes where the details of Jefferson's hair and the columns of Monticello were not fully impressed into the metal. This means that finding a 1961 nickel with sharp, complete details is a genuine challenge, and finding one that has survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with the full steps designation is nothing short of a numismatic miracle. Here is where the story takes a deeper, more technical turn, and where the concept of the error coin comes into play. The 1961 nickel we are talking about is not just a well-struck coin. It is a coin that was born from a mistake. The United States Mint in Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark during this era, was operating at a staggering pace. In 1961 alone, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 73 million of these 5-cent pieces. With such a massive volume of production, errors were inevitable. Occasionally, a die would crack, a planchet would be improperly fed, or the striking pressure would be slightly off, creating a coin that was uniquely flawed. In the world of numismatics, these flaws are not defects. They are features. They are the fingerprints of the minting process, proof that a coin is not just a mass-produced piece of metal, but a unique artifact of a specific moment in time. The specific errors that can appear on a 1961 nickel are varied and highly sought after. These include double dies, where the design appears to be doubled or misaligned, repunched mint marks, and dramatic die cracks that create raised lines or breaks in the design. While the presence of any error can increase a coin's value, it is the combination of a dramatic, visible error with the pristine condition of a full steps designation that catapults a coin into the six-figure stratosphere. The scarcity of these high-grade 1961 nickels is almost incomprehensible. To put it in perspective, let us look at the numbers. The total mintage for the 1961 Philadelphia nickel was over 73 million coins. Of those 73 million, the vast majority were released into circulation and spent, becoming worn, scratched, and damaged over decades of use. A significant portion were melted down, lost, or simply destroyed. The coins that were saved, the ones that were pulled from mint bags and stored away by collectors, number in the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands. But of those saved coins, only a tiny fraction were struck well enough to even be considered for the full steps designation. The Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, one of the premier coin grading companies in the world, has graded less than 24 examples of the 1961 Philadelphia nickel with the full steps designation across all grades combined. Let that number sink in for a moment. Less than 24 examples out of over 73 million coins minted. When you start talking about the highest grade examples, the ones that are in mint state 67 or higher, the population drops to a handful. A mere handful of coins exist in the entire world that possess the combination of strike, condition, and preservation to command the highest prices. This is not just rarity. This is extreme, almost mythical scarcity. We are now approaching the climax of our story, the moment where we reveal the true market potential of this numismatic ghost. The value of a 1961 nickel varies wildly depending on its condition. A heavily worn example from your pocket change is worth exactly 5 cents, its face value. An uncirculated example in mint state 65 might be worth around $35. But as the grades climb, the prices skyrocket. A mint state 67 example, the finest known for the Philadelphia issue, sold at auction for an impressive $6,325. This is a significant sum for a coin that started its life worth 5 cents, but it is merely a prelude to the main event. When you add the full steps designation to a high-grade coin, the value multiplies exponentially. A 1961D nickel, the Denver Mint variety, in MS65 full steps, sold for an incredible $23,000 at a Bowers and Marina auction. This record-setting sale demonstrates the immense premium that collectors are willing to pay for the perfect combination of rarity and condition. Now, we must address the elephant in the room, the $550,000 figure. How does a 5-cent piece reach such an astronomical valuation? The answer lies in the convergence of several extraordinary factors. First, the absolute and proven scarcity of the coin. As we have established, finding a 1961 nickel with the full steps designation is extraordinarily difficult. Second, the historical significance and the passionate collector base for the Jefferson Nickel series. The Jefferson Nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, and it has a dedicated and growing community of collectors who are constantly seeking the finest examples. Third, the current market heat. The numismatic market is experiencing a surge in interest, particularly for high-grade, rare coins that are seen as both a store of value and a piece of American history. Wealthy collectors and investors are increasingly looking to rare coins as a tangible asset class, driving up prices for the finest known specimens. And fourth, the potential for a specific, dramatic mint error. A coin that combines the full steps designation with a major error, such as a double die or a wrong planchet error, where the coin was struck on a blank intended for another denomination, becomes a truly unique piece. These unicorn coins are the ones that capture the imagination of the collecting world and command the highest prices. While the $550,000 figure represents the theoretical ceiling for a perfect, error-laden specimen in a white-hot market, the current reality is that a high-grade full steps 1961 nickel is already a five-figure coin, and its value is only trending upward. This brings us to the final, crucial point of our discussion: the call to action. You have now been armed with the knowledge that could make you a fortune. The information presented here is not just trivia. It is a treasure map. The 1961 nickel is out there, waiting to be discovered. Could be in the change you receive from a vending machine, in a roll of coins you picked up from the bank, or sitting in that dusty jar on your nightstand. Do not dismiss this possibility. The coins that have been sitting in the pockets of America for decades are a hidden reservoir of wealth, waiting for the right person to recognize their true value. The next time you receive change, take an extra second to look at the coins in your hand. Check the date. Look at the details on Monticello. Look at the steps. Look for errors. This simple act of observation, this single moment of awareness, could be the moment that changes your financial trajectory forever. The market for rare coins is not a static entity. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that is constantly evolving. Trends shift, new discoveries are made, and prices adjust in real time. The heat is on the 1961 nickel right now because collectors and investors are beginning to understand just how incredibly rare these high-grade, full steps examples truly are. As more people become aware of the potential value hiding in their pocket change, the demand will only increase, and the prices for the finest known examples will continue to climb. The time to act is now. The time to check your change, to examine your collection, to educate yourself, is this very moment. The window of opportunity to find one of these coins in circulation is closing, as more and more people become aware of their value and pull them out of the money supply. We have only scratched the surface of the hidden treasures that exist within the coins we handle every day. The world of numismatics is vast and filled with stories of ordinary people finding extraordinary wealth in the most unexpected places. The 1961 nickel is just one example of a coin that can change a life, but it is far from the only one. There are other ultra-rare coins out there, errors and key dates that command even higher prices and have even more fascinating stories. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die penny, the 1971 no-S-proof nickel, these are just a few of the legendary coins that have captivated collectors and created millionaires. The pursuit of these treasures is not just about money. It is about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the connection to a tangible piece of American history. So, as we conclude our exploration of the 1961 no-mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, I urge you to remember the lesson of this story. Knowledge is the true currency of the numismatic world. The difference between a 5-cent piece and a $500,000 fortune is not luck. It is awareness. It is the ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to recognize the value that others overlook. The coins in your pocket are not just loose change. They are potential history, potential art, and potential wealth. Do not be the spender who carelessly hands over a fortune. Be the collector who has the foresight to recognize a treasure when they see one. The hunt does not end here. The world of rare coins is an endless frontier, and there are always more secrets to uncover, more treasures to find, and more stories to tell. In our next journey, we are going to delve into the mystery of another ultra-rare coin, a piece that has baffled collectors for decades and whose value is measured not in thousands, but in millions. It is a coin that was never supposed to exist, a ghost from the past that has only recently resurfaced to shock the numismatic world. Do you have any idea what might be hiding in that old coffee can on your closet shelf? Or that dusty jar of pocket change you have been meaning to take to the bank for the last 5 years? What if I told you that the key to a life-changing sum of money, a life of financial freedom, of paid-off debts, of opportunities you have only ever dreamed about, could be sitting right there, completely unnoticed, mistaken for nothing more than 5 cents of pocket lint? We are talking about a coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that it has become the ultimate ghost of the numismatic world. It is the 1982 D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, and in the right condition, with the right errors, this single piece of 5-cent currency has a potential market value that reaches an astounding $711,000. That is not a typo. That is $711,000 for a coin that most people would spend without a second thought. This is the story of how the everyday spender and the informed collector walk the exact same path, yet their fates are separated by a chasm of knowledge. One person sees a nickel and thinks of a gumball. The other sees a nickel and sees a down payment on a house. The only difference is the willingness to look closer. So, before you spend another 5-cent piece, I want you to pause. I want you to think about every single coin you have let slip through your fingers. Are you ready to discover if you have been a spender or a collector this entire time? Let us step back in time to 1982. The United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of coins to fuel the American economy. The Jefferson Nickel, bearing the stoic profile of our third president on one side and his beloved Virginia home, Monticello, on the other, was a staple of American commerce. Designed by Felix Schlag, who won a competition among 390 artists for a $1,000 prize, the nickel was struck in massive numbers at the Denver Mint. In fact, the Denver facility produced over 373 million of these nickels that year. With a mintage that high, you would think they are all completely worthless, right? And for the vast majority, you would be correct. A circulated 1982 D nickel is, for all intents and purposes, worth its face value of 5 cents. But here is where the story takes a sharp and incredibly lucrative turn. Within that sea of ordinary coins, a select few were born with catastrophic errors. These were not just imperfections. They were manufacturing glitches so severe and so unique that they transformed a mundane piece of metal into a high-stakes treasure. The first thing you need to understand is the history of the mint mark itself. Until the early 1990s, mint marks like the D for Denver were not simply stamped onto the coin by a machine in one swift motion. They were hand-punched into the dies used to strike the coins. This was a painstaking process that required multiple blows with a mallet to get the mark deep enough. It was a human process, and humans are prone to error. This is where the legend of the 1982 D nickel truly begins. In some instances, the mint worker would strike the die, and the punch would slip, or the die would shift, or the mark just would not take correctly. The solution: punch it again. This created what is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. You might see a secondary, ghostly D slightly offset from the first, creating a doubling effect that is visible under magnification. But for the ultra-rare $700,000 specimen, the errors are far more spectacular. We are talking about the kind of mistakes that make a numismatist's heart race. Imagine a nickel that was struck on a planchet, a blank metal disc that was never meant for a nickel. Perhaps it was a cent planchet, making the coin thinner and lighter, or a dime planchet, which is even smaller. These are known as wrong planchet errors, and they are incredibly rare because the minting process is designed to prevent different denominations from being mixed up. The sheer improbability of a nickel being struck on a penny blank makes it a fascinating and highly sought-after anomaly. Then there are the die breaks and cuds. Over time, the steel dies used to strike coins can crack from the immense pressure. If a piece of the die breaks off, the coin will be struck with a raised, blob-like area known as a cud. Sometimes you will see massive die cracks running across the coin's surface. Other errors include off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the dies, resulting in a crescent-shaped blank area, or double strikes, where the coin is hit by the die more than once, creating a distorted, almost surreal image. The specific 1982 D nickel that commands the highest prices often features a combination of these dramatic errors. It might be a coin struck on the wrong planchet with a prominent die crack and a repunched mint mark. It is this perfect storm of manufacturing failures that creates the ultimate numismatic prize. Let us talk about the full steps designation for a moment. This is a term that brings a tremendous amount of value to any Jefferson nickel. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello features a set of steps leading up to the entrance. If the strike is strong enough, you can see all 6 steps clearly defined, with no mushy or missing details. This is incredibly difficult to achieve, and most 1982 D nickels do not have the full steps designation. A regular, high-grade 1982 D nickel without full steps might sell for between $50 and $250. But if it has those full steps, the value skyrockets. An MS-66 full steps example has sold for over $3,600 at auction. But this is still a far cry from $711,000. To reach that stratospheric value, you need a coin that is not just high grade, but is also one of the most significant error coins in existence. Now, you might be asking yourself, how on earth does a coin with such a massive mintage become worth over $700,000? The answer lies in the convergence of extreme rarity, a documented provenance, and the relentless demand of the collector market. This is not a coin you will find in a roll from the bank. It is a coin that has been hidden in plain sight for decades. When a coin like this is discovered, it is often sent to a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts authenticate the coin, identify the specific errors, and assign it a grade. The grade is crucial. A coin in lower circulated condition might be worth a few $1,000s, but a specimen that has survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with these dramatic errors is a unicorn. The auction houses know this. When a coin of this caliber comes to market, it attracts the attention of the world's wealthiest collectors. They are not just buying a coin. They are buying a piece of history, a story, a conversation starter that doubles as a significant investment. The fear of missing out is real. Every day, coins are being spent, lost, or thrown into Coinstar machines, their potential fortunes evaporating into the ether. The difference between 5 cents and $711,000 is not luck. It is knowledge. It is the willingness to stop, to look, and to question. So, I am going to ask you to do something right now. I want you to put down your phone, walk over to that jar of change you have been ignoring, and grab a handful. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. And then I want you to look closer. Do you see any doubling on the letters? Is the coin the wrong color? Is the design struck perfectly in the center? This is your moment. This is the pattern interrupt. Do not let another second pass without checking your pocket change. You might just be holding a ticket to a new life. The market for error coins is incredibly hot right now. With inflation and economic uncertainty, tangible assets like rare coins are seen as a safe haven for wealth. Collectors are hungry for the next great discovery, and the 1982D nickel errors are at the top of their wish list. The urgency is now. The longer a coin sits undiscovered, the more wear and tear it endures, decreasing its potential value. If you find something that looks off, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Do not spend it. Do not even touch it more than necessary. Handle it by the edges and place it in a protective holder. Your next step is to consult a professional. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a grading service. The investment in a professional opinion could be the best decision you ever make. So, what is the final takeaway? The 1982D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of the hidden wealth that surrounds us every single day. It represents the power of knowledge and the thrill of the hunt. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious and that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are found in the most ordinary places. The spender sees 5 cents. The collector sees $711,000. Which one are you? Before you go, I want to leave you with a thought. What if the coin you just dismissed is not the only one? What if there are more out there waiting to be found? This is just the tip of the iceberg. In our next episode, we are going to explore another ultra-rare coin that could be hiding in your change jar. A coin so elusive that most experts have never even seen one in person. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss this. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell right now so you are the first to know when we drop that video. Your financial future could depend on it. What if I told you that the 5-cent coin currently sitting in your cup holder, the one you almost spent on a gumball machine, could be worth more than a luxury house in the Midwest? Today, we are going to take a deep dive into one of the most elusive ghosts in modern American numismatics. We are talking about the 1996 P Mint Mark Jefferson Nickel. But not just any nickel. We are talking about the specific error variety so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that it has sent shockwaves through the collecting community, with whispers of auction values reaching a staggering $612,000. Let's paint a picture. It is a Tuesday morning. You are grabbing coffee. The cashier hands you your change, a few coins clinking in your palm. You glance down. It is a 1996 nickel. It looks like any other nickel you have seen 1,000 times. The profile of Thomas Jefferson, the grand steps of Monticello on the back. You are about to drop it into the tip jar. You are a spender. But in that split second, you hesitate. You are a collector. This is the moment that defines the difference between throwing away a fortune and securing your financial future. This is the fear of missing out, the knowledge that hidden in plain sight, in the pockets of millions of Americans, lies a treasure that could change everything. The 1996 Philadelphia Mint nickel had a massive production run. Over 829 million of them were struck that year. Statistically, your chances of finding a rare error are astronomically low. But that is what makes the hunt so exhilarating. That is what makes the potential payoff so intoxicating. Because the difference between a 5-cent piece and a 6-figure payday isn't just luck. It is knowledge. So what are we looking for? What turns this common pocket change into a numismatic holy grail? To understand the value, we have to understand the errors. The 1996 Jefferson Nickel is a coin of extremes. In average circulated condition, it is worth exactly 5 cents. However, the moment you introduce specific mint-made anomalies, the game changes entirely. The most famous and universally recognized premium is the full steps designation. On the reverse of the coin, at the base of Monticello, there is a set of stairs. Collectors and grading services like PCGS and NGC look for 5 or 6 distinct, uninterrupted horizontal lines on those steps. Most coins are struck with worn dies or sustained damage in the minting process, blurring these lines completely. A 1996 with full steps is incredibly rare and commands a significant premium. Examples in top mint state grades have sold for thousands of dollars, with one particularly stunning MS65 full step specimen selling for over $2,160 at a Stax Bowers auction in June of 2024. That is a 43,000% return on a 5-cent investment. But that is just the beginning. That is the entry-level treasure. We are hunting bigger game. We are hunting the ghost. To find the true value, we must confront the minting errors that make a coin a one-of-a-kind artifact. We are talking about planchet errors, die errors, and striking errors. Imagine a nickel being struck on the wrong metal. A wrong planchet error occurs when a correctly made planchet from one denomination is accidentally fed into a press striking another denomination. A 1996 Jefferson Nickel struck on a copper planchet intended for a foreign coin or perhaps a cent. That is a rarity. These off-metal strikes are incredibly scarce, often weighing differently and displaying unique colorations. Then there is the double denomination error. Picture this: a 1996 Jefferson Nickel struck on a dime that had already been struck. It is a freak accident of machinery, a ghost in the machine, creating a coin that looks like 2 different denominations fused into one. One such error, a double denomination on a struck dime, has been valued at over $5,000. And what about the die errors? Die cracks that look like spiked heads running across Jefferson's face. Broad strikes where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, leaving it wider and often misshapen. Off-center strikes that leave the design dramatically shifted. Each of these errors tells the story of a split-second malfunction at the Philadelphia Mint, a moment of chaos that created a piece of history worth a fortune. Now, let's talk about the $612,000 question. Is it real? Can a 1996 nickel really be worth that much? While the standard full steps varieties have a proven track record of reaching 4-figure sums, the massive 6-figure valuations are reserved for the extreme, the unique, and the historically significant errors that are almost impossible to find. The market for these errors is hot, fueled by a surge of interest in hidden wealth and the thrill of the treasure hunt. Auction records for Jefferson Nickels have been smashed in recent years. The numismatic market has dramatically re-evaluated what top examples are really worth. When you hold a coin with a dramatic strike through error, or a wrong planchet that has been certified by a top grading company, you are not holding pocket change. You are holding a piece of art, a piece of manufacturing history, and a highly liquid asset. The call to action is simple, and it starts right now. This is your pattern interrupt. Stop what you are doing. Go to your jar of loose change. Open your wallet. Check your car's center console. Look at the date. Look for the Mint mark on the obverse. to the right of Jefferson's ponytail. If you find a 1996p, do not spend it. Take a magnifying glass. Look at the steps of Monticello. Can you see the individual lines clearly? Look at the edge of the coin. Is it perfectly round? Or is it misshapen? Does the metal look the right color? A standard nickel weighs 5 grams. If yours feels lighter or heavier, that is a red flag. If you suspect you have something special, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value. Handle it by the edges and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The certification process authenticates the error and assigns a grade, which is the key to unlocking its true market value. The 1996p Jefferson Nickel is a testament to the idea that wealth is often hiding in the most mundane places. It is the ultimate symbol of the spender versus the collector. The spender sees 5 cents. The collector sees potential. The market for these rare coins is not just stable. It is growing. New collectors are entering the space every day, driving up demand for high-quality error coins. The urgency is real. The opportunity is now. Do not let a fortune slip through your fingers. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of ultra-rare coins and you want to know which other seemingly common coins could be hiding in your change, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. In our next video, we are going to reveal another modern-day treasure, a coin so rare that finding one is like winning the lottery. You will not want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting.